I'm Sari Kimball, and I've done just about everything in the food industry. I have helped hundreds of packaged food business entrepreneurs, and now I want to help you make your delicious dream a reality. Whether you want to be successful at farmers markets, online, or wholesale onto store shelves, food business success is your secret ingredient. I will show you how to avoid an expensive hobby and instead run a profitable food business. Now let's jump in. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. We are continuing with the sales series, and I love these episodes where I get to bring on clients of mine who have gone from an idea and now we have a product. And it's so fitting because Bryan with BarFly Salsa is here today, and he also has a sales background. So we were kind of chatting about his experience and how he's brought sales to this new business of his. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And you guys get to know Bryan a little bit more. So welcome, Bryan of BarFly Salsa.
Thanks, Sari.
Yeah, it's fun to have you here. You're a long-time listener.
I am. I'm a long-time listener. Yeah. First time, long time, Sari.
Yep. Exactly. Did you find me on the podcast, or did you find through YouTube?
I found you through actually as a happy accident. Remember, in an online search when I was looking through some state licensing or food testing sites or something, I came across your website, and that's how we were introduced. Just over a year ago.
Nice. So just a little quick background. So Bryan, to my knowledge, you've never really been in the food industry. I know you grew up on a rural area farming, right? Potato
farming. Grew up on a family farm, yes, but no, I mean, other than college jobs, bartending and waiting tables, no formal food production training or experience.
Yeah. So this can be done, even if you have never had, CPG food industry experience. I'm fortunate enough that Bryan happens to live near where I do. So we've seen each other in person, which is always fun. But like I said, you said you're in semiconductor sales, which I don't even know what that means. So
it's a tough year to be in semiconductor sales, but yes, that is my normal day-to-day job.
It's your day job. And then, a year ago or a little more, we started talking. You approached me. You were, on the outside thinking to yourself, well, let's just talk about that. Like, let's go back to a year or more, as we were meeting, like, how long did you want to do this business? Tell us a little bit more about the business.
Yeah. So my wife was the one that convinced me to do it during the pandemic. June of 2020, we were out at our anniversary dinner, and we were just kind of talking about how the year had gone and kind of what do we think is going to happen? When are we going to come out of this? Those type of discussions. And we had visited a brewery earlier in the day, and all they had, the food truck didn't show up that was there. And all there was dry pretzels, Doritos, just normal dry snack fare. And she was saying, you should just sell your salsa. You should sell your salsa. And I was like, oh, okay, ha ha ha. But then I thought about, I was like, in my job too, during the pandemic, I'm normally in my car driving all over the area and visiting customers, and those cycles were gone. So I thought, okay, I committed to her that I'd spend 2 hours a week, right, to start this. And I quickly into it realized it was way more than 2 hours a week, looking into what it would take to go to market with this. And then thankfully through my search, I came across Sari Kimball and Food Business Success, and we started our conversation from there. But the desire was always, I really enjoy cooking. I enjoy, making food at home and watching, something you create, watching someone enjoy that. So that was kind of one of the things I really like. But just seeing if this had a shot, because it's the salsa is we put the warning label on there. Content's highly addictive. So, I mean, I'm a fan of my own work, and I just wanted to see if anybody else would be as well.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
We can credit pandemic boredom, I guess.
Yeah, you're not the only one. At least like the pandemic nudge, like somewhat it's boredom, but some of it's like, I wonder. what if, right? You had a minute to think about things.
Yep. It's just, one of the things that you only live once, and if we love it, let's see if the mass market likes it.
Did you ever think that you would be an entrepreneur? Has that been something you've ever thought about doing?
That's funny. So I'm from the great state of North Dakota and moved to Colorado in late 2002. Right before I left, I was having dinner with a close family friend of my dad's, and my parents and I were there. We were talking to him, and he's a really funny, gruff man. His name's Jim Vista. He's since passed away, but just he said something that always sticks with me. And I was moving to Colorado. I didn't have a job. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And he asked me, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "God, I don't know. I could see myself in this profession. I'm kind of interested in that." And he just said, "Nah, find something that you love to do and then sell the shit out of it." And so, that's kind of always stuck with me. And I love making salsa. I love watching people enjoy it. So now we're trying to just sell a lot of it.
Yeah, now you're just selling the shit out of it. I love it. So you came to me, you literally, I totally remember when you dropped off a sample and some Tupperware and you're like, just try it. I want you to try the salsa. Make sure I'm not going crazy,
I wanted to work with someone that would believe in it, right? And I love the fact that you said to me, what did you tell the audience? What did you say to me when I dropped off salsa?
I don't know.
Well, I remember you saying, "Well, I'm actually not a big salsa person." And I thought, well, good. If she's not a big salsa person, then if she likes it, then I maybe have something.
And I did. I ate it on my eggs for the next few days. I was like, this is actually pretty good.
Good.
I became a fan. Yeah. So we just started the journey together. What were some of those initial, some of the harder things that you felt like when we first started?
I think getting into it without any experience, feeling overwhelmed about state regulation and how do you get licensed. You're constantly thinking, I'm going to do something wrong. I'm going to not file the right paperwork. This is going to be way harder than I thought. And with your coaching and help, you certainly minimize those concerns. But that was a major one, just making sure, okay, I'm not doing anything illegal or certainly, out of policy with the state or county. And then secondly, trying to find a commercial, a spot to produce was really challenging and took me a while to, to find the right partnership and get in the right space there. And I guess thirdly, thinking about it, I think it was working with you and with Karen Savory at Sweet and Savory Designs, being very intentional about brand and the imagery and the logo and the messaging, because it is a crowded space, like any food business. It's a crowded spot, and we wanted to have fun with it, but differentiate it at the same time.
Yeah, I love it. And we're going to definitely talk more about the branding. But I do remember, I wouldn't describe you as like an anxious person, but just having those you came with a whole bunch of things in your brain, and it was like, all right,
no, I am. You just haven't hung out with me long enough. I'm pretty anxious, but
I wouldn't describe you that way, but maybe your wife would. But yeah, that's what happens when you're starting a business. You're like, ping, 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 right? Like everything's all over the place, and you're waking up. And I remember even saying, like, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was like, ah.
Oh yeah, I think if you're anything that's scary and new and you're excited about it, should wake you up a little bit, and all the things that you don't you can't prepare for or would never think of. I think that's, to anyone new listening to the podcast that hasn't worked with Sarah before, I really think that that's a positive attribute of working with you, is helping young entrepreneurs navigate those potential pitfalls that you could never think of on your own until you went through them.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think, and I'm not just saying, I'm touting my own horn, but I do think that's such a huge value. That's why I have a coach as well. Like when you're the entrepreneur, you're in the middle of it and you can't see the forest from the trees, and having somebody who understands the landscape. Do you think you would be here anywhere close to here? Like, do you think you would have?
No, not at all. And just certain, practices and stuff. Yeah, I think it was Christmas last year, Sarah, that I gave you some more samples. We were testing out packaging, and they weren't produced in a sterile environment, and they exploded in your fridge, right?
Yes.
You had red salsa all over your
all
fridge.
over my fridge.
Day after Christmas, you called me or texted me, what is going on? What are you putting in this? And so their response was like, oh, great. It doesn't even last a week and a half in the fridge and it explodes. This is not going to work.
I know, as I added more anxiety onto your plate.
Yeah.
But that I could call, my food scientist people and be like, what happened? What do we need to know? How do we extend shelf life?
Yeah,
and it was
here
just
I am thinking of making a food bomb in someone's refrigerator. And it was just, there was just some bacteria on a tight lid and it exploded. And here's what you do to avoid that. And the ingredients that we've chosen were great and actually extended the shelf life, I guess, of a fresh product, but to keep it in the fridge longer.
Yep. Yeah. So we are good now. And I think you're pushing like 5 or 6 weeks now. So it's so great.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So, let's talk about the branding part too, because we're both sporting our BarFly hats. Well, first of all, the name, I think that was very intentional. And then we'll, talk up Karen a little bit here as well.
So the name BarFly really was a one we had thought about, but my wife and I guess, and some of my friends considered ourselves barflies in the sense that we would go to a few local breweries or something during the pandemic. We'd be outside and socially distanced and whatnot. We'd go to these few establishments, ride our bikes, or just grab a beer, and we would see some similar faces or the same families at even different spots around town. And so it kind of stuck with me that for barflies like myself would enjoy a snack like this, right? So it was kind of being intentional about our target audience and who we were going after that would pay, more than a jar of salsa at the grocery store, but wanted a snack when you're out having fun. And so that's where the name kind of stems from. And then we were still kicking around a few different name ideas and working with Karen at Sweet and Savory Designs. We were going through some logos, and she pointed out when we did the B and the F for BarFly, that was actually my initials, Bryan Fagerholt. And it never crossed my mind that was my initials. And so that was kind of the clincher. And of course I played it off to Karen like it was my idea, that was intentional.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Karen, cat's out of the bag. That was all your doing, none of mine.
That's awesome. Yeah. I know we were kicking around a few other things, but and two, for people maybe who are not in brewery culture, I mean, Colorado is very, where we're at in Denver and Northern Colorado is very brewery centric, and they're very family friendly, a lot of them. And so it's like
very German style picnic tables. We our family can ride our bikes to, 4 or 5 different places of small family owned operations. And so that was kind of my target audience as we roll the product out.
Yeah. Yeah. So you came and you were like, I loved it because it was such a different sales channel, right? It wasn't the, grocery store, Amazon or something like that. You're like, I want to really try. I think this could work in breweries. Let's give it a try. So I love that it was a little bit of a unique path to market, right?
Yeah. And nothing against farmers markets, great venues. And I love going to those. Our family's normally very busy on weekends as most are. I just didn't see myself being the opportunity to dedicate time to being at a farmer's market on a Saturday and Sunday. And so I thought, well, what if, and I guess someone's going to probably, use this idea, go for it. But what if I think I could reach just as many people during the week and the weekends at a microbrewery as I could, at a farmer's market.
Yeah. And so, you've had a lot of success. We're going to talk about that, and actually there's been a number of people either who are in my program inside Food Business Success or have just found you through me talking about you that have reached out. They're like, oh, that's a great idea. And the nice thing is it's pretty local, right? I mean, you're not, you're focused on a very local channel.
It's very local as we start right now. And I just find too that most of, at least in Colorado, the microbrewery culture, as people are very approachable, very like-minded, very open. And even if they don't want your product, they'll hear you out, try your product, and are usually open to the idea, whether they agree to take it on or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, yeah, we got you a product. We got amazing labels. We're both donning our cool BarFly hats. You get so many compliments on this logo. And we were joking about your sweat equity and your sweat stains.
Yeah, Sari doesn't have the sweat stain on hers. I wear it when I produce salsa, and I found that in the summertime, at least, the kitchen got kind of hot in there.
Yeah. So we found you a kitchen, which was great. It was actually a kitchen out of a sports bar. So, your salsa is not very labor intensive. You don't need stoves and things like that. So it's been working out really nicely. And you sell to them too, right? They started buying.
I do. I sell the bulk of them as their house salsa for two of their sister restaurant facilities. So selling in bulk to them has worked for me as well.
Yeah. So we got you. Yeah. We figured out the containers, the labels, the branding, the product, got all of that dialed in, the pricing. And then you were off and running. And, I definitely gave you some feedback and guidance, but like I said, you have a sales background. So tell me about what your experience has been, like where you're at now, and drop some nuggets.
I think that's where we got to having this conversation. I just want to start by saying that I am by no means a sales expert. Okay. I've struggled and gone through the struggles of approaching customers, keeping customers. As anyone, I found it second nature, and talking with Sari, obviously some people listening to this podcast maybe have no sales experience or are nervous or anxious about starting dialogue. And I just want to say, you certainly can do it. As Sari said, knows you can do hard things, right? But I guess I'd start by saying, and a sales mentor of mine and a sales manager has always said, sales is a full contact sport. So you need to be out in front of people, talking to them. Otherwise, you're wasting time, right? And people don't know they want your product until you approach them. So you have to be willing to engage dialogue. And even the salsa that you think would sell itself, it doesn't sell itself. You have to convince people that they want it.
Yeah, I love it. And yeah, that's how we were talking about it, because I was mentioning, talking about sales and just how nervous a lot of people are. Like a lot of people that come to me to work with me are, I've never been in the food industry and then never had a sales background. And I just thought, wow, you kind of have a natural ability, not touting you as an expert by any means, but but I thought, the fact that you could, because how many breweries are you up to now?
9,
which is amazing, and just
4 restaurants.
Yeah. Because when did you actually have a product? Last spring? We
started production February.
Okay.
And you were there to help me. We had our masks on and making salsa. So we've grown about a little, sometimes a lot less, sometimes more than 10% kind of month over month in sales.
Yeah.
So, for a salesperson, first of all, if you're the one selling your product, you have to get some thick skin and be brave and, be bold, be willing to approach people. And there's, some tips or some traits that you have to be willing to hear no. You're going to hear no a lot. So you be persistent and have perseverance. That no, in the sales world, if you've had sales training, no usually means either not now, or you're not explaining yourself properly on why they need your product. So if it's one of those two things, think about that, why you got a no, and maybe, work on your pitch as to that particular place you're trying to sell into. What's their need for your product?
Right. And don't be afraid to just ask again, right? And try to figure out.
Oh, yeah. Not now. So follow up in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months and say, I dropped off that sample. I'd really love a chance to talk with you again about having my product in your establishment.
Yeah. So what do you think the offer is for you? Like, why is your offer compelling? You got that first brewery pretty quickly, and then you've been able to, add on. Really, you're kind of limited more by your own time because you have a full-time job and you have kids.
Yeah.
And so in a lot of ways, I think your growth is very purposeful in that you are trying to be not run around all over the place.
There is. So sales is a very intention-based profession, right? The best salespeople I know are extremely good listeners and communicators. They're very prepared and they're very organized, and they're also extremely curious. They ask really good questions. And I'm not saying I do this, but you ask really good questions of your customers and ask them, well, why do you do this way? Why are you set up this way? For me, it's do you consider having fresh snack options for your customers? Well, we only have food trucks. Okay, well, that's great. Well, I don't intend for, to sell against your food trucks. Food trucks are great. But, this is a snack option that your business can make margin on. Your employees can sell to add their available gratuity.
We all know salty snacks drive beer sales, right?
I mean, so I'm not reinventing the wheel on that notion. So that certainly helps. But just, and that helps. I had a question from another one of your listeners asking me about my price point. And while it's extremely important to work with Sari or anyone to figure out what you can sell this for, I thought my price point was very agreeable versus what a food truck would sell their snack options for. They have higher margins, higher costs. And that was focusing on the win-win in the scenario for your target customer. I win because you buy my product. You win because you make margin, and your employees, it's easy for them to sell. They can grab it out of a cooler. They don't have to turn on an oven or go to the back room or do anything else. So,
and the customer wins because now they have a snack, right?
Focusing on the win-win. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you got into a couple stores. I mean, so when you go, well, I just love to know your process a little bit more. So when you are approaching a brewery, I know you kind of started with some that you probably knew already, right?
Yeah, very few. Before I engaged with you, I just had my homemade versions that a couple of the places I'd go to I said, try this. What do you think? And one guy really loved it. And I left one of his employees and he actually took it home. He goes, my wife is going to really love this. So I thought that was good. So my approach is always, of course, have your samples with you. Have samples to drop off because, again, people don't know they want your product until they try it. People think salsa, so what? There's dozens of jars of salsa at the grocery store. Why would I try yours? If I wanted to sell salsa, I would just go buy salsa in little containers and sell it here. My process would be to, when you show up, of course, have a sample with you, have your sales sheet with you, have your business cards with you. Because chances are the person that you're going to want to meet with, you'll need to figure out who the decision maker is in the process. Chances are that person is either busy and not there, or you're going to interrupt them. And I can guarantee you when you're selling, you're going to interrupt whoever you're walking in. This is on a cold call, but you're going to interrupt whoever day you're walking in on. So it's important to be as likable as possible. And then I always like by just saying, I don't have an appointment today. And I don't know if you're the right person to talk to, but, is there someone I could talk to about fresh snack options at your brewery? Well, that's our taproom manager who's not here. Okay. Make sure to get people's names too. Yeah. And if you could get if they're not the decision maker, people always love to hear their name. So that's one thing I try to do, even though I usually am one of those type of people that as soon as someone says their name, it's in one ear and out the other. I just can't, I have a mental block. So I try to write it down but it's always important to follow up then with the decision maker. If they're not there, leave your sample, get their card if you can, and then follow up with emails or phone calls, follow them on social media. And then in a day or two, come back with an email or phone call and say, Mr. Business Owner, I met with Alex at the front of your establishment yesterday, and I left a salsa sample. And my name is Bryan. I would really love an opportunity to discuss my product being sold at your place. And sometimes you get responses. Oftentimes you'll get nothing, right? You'll get silence and you'll get ghosted. And that's something you have to get used to too, about being the persistence and organized of who to follow up with, when, what's a good cadence of follow up, and just work that into part of your routine. Yeah.
And I'm sure even asking like Alex, for instance, like when is a good time, or, trying to figure out like, when are they in? And
exactly. Make it easy to catch them or, to get a hold of them.
Yeah.
Because again, think about it. For sales, you have to think about who's receiving your message, right? If somebody's trying to remember a 4 beer order that they just had, 5 beer order that using hard, and you're coming in, hey, want to try this salsa? I mean, they're like, okay, but please, get away from me.
Yep. Timing's everything too, right? Being mindful of time of day, that, if you're going in on a weekend.
Yeah. When's their
careful.
busy spot? When does he have a few cycles? I would say if you are considering targeting breweries with your snacks, I mean, try, if there's managers meetings that you know about. I mean, that was one I got lucky on, that there was right before a managers meeting, and they said to come back on Thursday before 2:00 because of the managers meeting. Well, guess what? I brought extra samples and had the whole staff try it. And then they realized that, that was a good move, a lucky move, but a good one.
Yeah. So fun. I think that's so great. And yeah, it's just been a persistence thing. And then you've done a great job once you're in one that's half the battle, right? You get into it, but
right now I have a customer. Now what? Right. So another thing that you hear in a sales cliche that you hear is, oh, life would be perfect if it wasn't for all these dang customers. Because now they demand your time and energy. And that's the thing that keeps you up, right? You get a bunch of orders, you don't have supply, you run out of labels. I've run into those scenarios before, but the focus on, try to focus on being easy to do business with, right? Because you're going to make mistakes. I've dropped and broken containers on the way into places. I've, had products expire on the shelves that didn't move. Give your product away to start. Give it away to start.
Be super generous. Yeah.
And someone said, oh, we would have placed an order, but last time we ordered too many. And I said, just tell me next time. I'll replace those for free and give you extra ones.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And we've always talked about like those first few accounts, you just got to baby them and like really take care of them. And
then I asked for permission. So this is relatively funny. A few of the breweries I started at, I didn't know how I was going to help promote in there. So I would just go without permission and set up shop and kind of give away little ramekins with some chips. And one of the taproom managers came to me and just said, what are you doing? Like, please stop approaching my customers. Oh, okay. So, and then subsequently we've set up events where I have a table with signs and, people just then get their permission and, have free samples and chips or your product available to set up just like your own little, farmer's market, just with free samples inside of an establishment. Right. And give it away. And so that was much more
little demo table. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love it. You've brought stickers and we've made a poster that says, BarFly Salsa here. So I think you're doing a lot to support it because it is kind of a little bit different idea. I mean, not completely, but just you want to support those.
People get confused when at the breweries, they come to me and just with cash or with their card say, this is really good. Do I just buy this from you? Or how does that? No, I said, just go, you buy it here, go to the counter, and pay for it.
Right. You're like, I'm not an actual farmer's market. I'm here. It's a different thing, but that's fun.
Yep.
Yeah. You've done a great job. And, for somebody who was like, I don't want to spend my weekends at farmers markets. Now you spend them at breweries. So I guess it's.
My wife is not always a huge fan of my target audience. For me to be spending cycles there, but I'm on the job. I have to keep it together.
I know, right? Mm-hmm. It's a business expense, this beer. I love it. All right. So you're just continually to add, and we've talked a lot because you are busy, get a lot going on. We've really focused on being careful not to expand geographically too quickly, like really just saturating a place first so that you can get the efficiencies of delivery and then kind of going to another zone where there's a high brewery concentration and saturating that. And
so for cold calls, when you break out of your market, right, you do the math on not only what you're paying in gas, and of course if your vehicle is deductible through taxes at the end of the year, but what are you paying in gas to get to a new location? And if you do target a new location, do not just stop at one spot that's close by. Make sure you look online, look for other target customers in the area, and make sure that you're not just because one of the places when I didn't even know if they'd want, I was actually trying to hit another business. And they said, you should try that place down the street. And I thought, oh, those guys, they're too small. Nope. Actually, they're my best customer today. So, again, you make sure you have multiple samples, multiple target locations if you're going to go out of your home-based geography.
Yeah. Yeah. So it seems to be really working for you. So, what's the goal? I know we've had some goal planning, but yeah, what are you looking as you look ahead?
Yeah, it's important. So just for concrete goals, we'll get to the end of the year and I want to at least double my 2022 sales to 2021. And I'll have a 2-month head start, I guess, conceivably, in 2022. But really for me, just abstract, high picture, I want to take over the fresh salsa market versus people I think are so ingrained to buy a jar of salsa at the supermarket. And and there's nothing wrong with that. There are plenty of good jarred salsas out there. I was just blown away when I started doing market research on fresh salsa at multiple different grocery stores or convenience stores. They're largely either flavorless or they're totally imbalanced, too chipotle forward or too garlic forward, or really overbearing in some ways. And so I would love, my dream is to take over and just be a dominant fresh salsa player at major outlets in the future, not just the niche ones. But the niche ones are really fun to sell to.
For sure. Yeah. And you're coming in, I mean, the branding, I think, is so important with your product, right? I mean, it makes sense in the bar situation, but it's like a fun thing. Like salsa should be fun. And we won't name names, but there's some really like super boring salsas out there.
Yeah. And then for our geography and where we live, I think it's just super important to be intentional about who your audience is and then have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you chose a name that was fun. We chose branding that was really fun. And it could really ultimately, like you said, like, why not? Why not you? There's no reason why, BarFly can't replace or squeeze in, some of those places. And you're really catering to a younger audience, somebody that's wanting more fun in their food and more of an experience. So I think it's absolutely possible. We've talked about some of our strategies and things for year 2, but
it is. And to your, again, having a coach like Sari or whomever you work with is extremely important, not only to keep you focused, but then to challenge you for growth. And I think that's one of the things I struggle with here at the end of the year is, vision of where this could, do I stay in my lane? Am I getting ahead of myself? And it really helps to have proper mentoring in when you're thinking about your growth and your goal planning.
Yeah. I love it. Well, I did an episode not too long ago called your 4th quarter pep talk. Mm-hmm. And then I've been working with some of my coaching clients. So this might be helpful for you and to people listening, but as we're getting towards the end of the year, like just really looking at what are those like top 2 or 3 high leverage things that are going to help move your business forward. I think it's tempting to be like, I'm going to try to do all the things. And then it's also Thanksgiving and it's Christmas and family and travel. And it's like, let's pull it back and be a little more realistic, but also just focus on like things that are super high leverage, right? Like where are there opportunities in breweries with the holidays to really capitalize on that? Or I know you've been doing some bulk sales as well. Like some of your breweries do bulk versus the 8 ounce that they're selling direct to the consumer.
And gift baskets, just kind of thinking I'm a horrible gift giver. So anything that can be pre-packaged, right? Or something that you can, or work with your customer, it gives you an opportunity to, and this gets back to, developing and growing your relationship with your existing customers is, any opportunity to have dialogue with them on collaboration, on events, on
exactly what events are they doing?
What are their charitable causes? What are their, how can I help you promote yours? And, and say things like, I know you don't need my help supporting you, but I would really love if BarFly Salsa and, if I could help promote this event.
I love that. I love that you've been really generous with your time and with samples and things like that, because you just never know who you're going to run into right at those events. I mean, you did an event for Colorado Food Works and came out, and who knows, right? It could be nothing, but you could meet somebody that's like, oh, my friend is here and da, 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 right? Like you just don't know who you're going to meet at those things. And so,
and exactly. And very important and near and dear to my heart, BarFly Salsa does donate a portion of all proceeds to Food Bank of the Rockies. And I think that's find when you start selling, you don't have to, they appreciate all donations. So
Right.
Even a small percentage of your sales, if you can donate to a charity you're passionate about, it's another marketing and selling point that you can, find community with people that you're trying to sell to.
Yeah. I mean, we know millennials love products that have double duty, right? Like they provide an experience, they give back. They're more than just the food that's in the package.
So if you are a customer, thank you. And then you buy every chips and salsa that you buy, you're helping support Food Bank of the Rockies. So there you go.
That's right. It's a win-win.
Win-win.
There's 4 wins there. I love it. Was there anything else you want to make sure you get out there, or things you want to
for anyone that is starting this, it's hard, it's fun, it's tiring, it's awesome. And the only and best advice I'd give you is just, other than find something that you love and then sell the shit out of it, would be the first step in doing this is believing in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, it will erode quickly.
Yes. Well, it's been super fun, and I love that you believe in this so much, and it seems like you're just having a lot of fun, and it's been fun to be on this journey with you.
Well, with your help. Yes. Thank you. There would have been a lot of not fun moments So yeah, thank you very much. And if anyone, you can follow, check us out online on Instagram. You can go to my website. If you'd like to email me and ask any questions about my business or about Sari's, I couldn't be a more staunch supporter of what Sari's done for my business. And if you would like me to help explain, her process or anything, I'd be happy to do so.
Thank you so much. Yeah. You guys go check out, BarFly Salsa. It's nice. I mean, names are tough, man. And you got lucky with yours.
Yeah, it's got my name, my initials.
Yeah. And we, barfly.com was taken, but BarFly Salsa, none of those exist. So it's so good that we were able to find something.
The world needs more barflies. So I'll take all the support I can get.
I remember some of those early drawings from Karen. I mean, you would ask for them, but it was kind of the drunk flies, falling off the.
Oh yeah, with barely above the bar, and but the logo itself it boiled down to 4 or 5 different initial ideas.
Yeah, it was a fun process. Yeah, she did a great job for sure. So something I know you get a lot of compliments on, and really helps sell the salsa when you're not around to do it for it. So That's right. Get good salsa in people's mouths. And
life's too short to eat bad salsa or drink bad beer. So
that's right. I love it.
There you go.
Yes, we are spoiled here in Colorado. So all right. Thanks so much, Bryan. I appreciate your time. This was really fun to just dig in a little bit more with your business.
All my appreciation goes to you. Thank you for having me. It was fun looking back on the past, 14 or 15 months here. And I guess fun is not a word that a lot of people in this, in the pandemic or post-pandemic era would say, but it's been learning a lot about myself, a lot about the industry. And I just thank you again for all your help.
Would you choose it again? Would you do it all again? Now you know what you know?
Absolutely. This has been great. And there's still only 24 hours in every day. And it's amazing that you think it's when you put your mind to it, what you can accomplish with the right help.
Yeah. Yeah. Something to be really proud of. Well, I'm sure you can tell that Bryan and I get along very well and have a lot of laughs together. And one thing I love about Bryan is that even though he's had moments of freak out and anxiety, that he doesn't take himself too seriously. And I think that is a trait that goes a long way when you are building a business. And I know there's so many of you out there thinking about building a salsa business. So feel free to get in touch with him. Feel free to get in touch with me, whatever your delicious idea is. I have created food business success for you to be more successful in your business. So what are you waiting for? Head over to the website, go apply, and then let's see you inside, where you get community, support, expertise, and the confidence that you are on the right track. Until next time, have an amazing week. Are you ready to start that delicious idea that you make in your home kitchen or grow your existing packaged food business and take it to the next level. The most successful food business entrepreneurs have support, guidance, focus, and accountability to help them make it happen quickly without wasting time or money. Plus, I think starting your packaged food business should actually be fun. Food business success is your secret ingredient to creating your food business dream. Please don't go this alone. Check out the private free Food Business Success Facebook group to connect with other foodpreneurs, get your questions answered quickly, share your wins, and receive special training and tools I only share inside the private community. Just search for Food Business Success on Facebook or get the link in the show notes. Curious about how Food Business Success can help you? Head over to foodbizsuccess.com and fill out the application to see if you're a great fit for the program. Together, let's make your food business dream a reality.